You're not crazy. You know you're right, but it's your word against theirs, and there is no one else here to take your side. That's because of this first common but often overlooked sign of gaslighting: isolation. Isolation is a devious tactic used to drive a wedge between you and the people who you love. And this is your first sign that someone is gaslighting you. Now, in a relationship where your thoughts should be your own, you instead find yourself more and more dependent on this person to tell you what to think and what to believe. Here's how they do it. They start small by criticizing the people close to you, telling you that maybe your family doesn't really understand you, or that your friends don't really care about you. Now they start to lie about the people you love, and those lies begin to grow more and more until you begin to believe them. Soon, you start to feel betrayed, angry, and even afraid of everyone you once trusted. Slowly, over time, you begin to let go of everyone in your life until there is no one else here to support you, stand up for you, or take your side. Through isolation, they have become the only one you can trust. Now, the major thing to remember here is this: they are trying to control you, control your thoughts, control any outside influence you have, so that you feel like this person is the only source of truth in your life. Now, that's how isolation is used in gaslighting. But let's talk about the next highly damaging sign: reality distortion. Picture them systematically questioning and distorting every memory you have. It's mental warfare, and they do it to the point where you begin to second guess yourself, doubt your own memory, even your own sanity. This isn't just lying. This is them deliberately denying things that you know happened so they can gain control over you. Now, you might hear phrases like, "You're making things up," or "That never happened," or "I didn't say that. You're confused again. You're remembering it wrong." Pay attention, because they are trying to influence what is right and what is true in your life. This is important to recognize because it's a direct attack on your ability to trust yourself. They want to confuse you. They want to make you doubt yourself. They want you to look to them for answers so they can gain power and control over you. It's a malicious and calculated move that has the potential to cause lasting harm to your sense of self and keep you under their thumb. If you find someone constantly questioning your memory or your feelings, it is a strong sign of gaslighting. But before we move on, it's really important and worth mentioning that not all gaslighting is intentional. It's all about the meaning behind it. Unintentional gaslighting occurs without the direct intent to harm. This happens in everyday life when a person might dismiss your feelings or your experiences as less important, or they may just genuinely remember things differently than you do. In this case, it will be obvious because you can address this with an open and honest conversation. But Intentional gaslighting is malicious, and it is a common tactic in emotionally abusive relationships. That abuser is consciously seeking ways to undermine your reality and control you. Now, determining which is happening really depends on the context, the frequency, and most importantly, again, the intent behind that person's behavior. You can subscribe now and check out some of my other videos to learn more about that. But right now, we're moving on to the third sign, blame shifting. Imagine this. You're the target in a relentless game of blame and shame, where you're always the bad guy, no matter what. It's like living in a world turned upside down, where the truth doesn't matter and your feelings are irrelevant to them. They are constantly bombarding you with accusations, each one more absurd than the last. And every time you try to defend yourself, they just twist your words and turn you into the villain. It's a bizarre, disorienting, frustrating experience that leaves you feeling exhausted and questioning everything, including your own sanity. Now, blame shifting goes like this. Instead of taking responsibility, the gaslighter will say things like, "You're always trying to blame me for something," or, "Actually, it's your fault that this happened. You know, you're overreacting. Why are you always trying to start an argument? Why do you always have to have things your way?" You just cannot ignore how important this sign is, because a consistent pattern of blame shifting will have a major impact on your mental health. They are going to beat you down with blame and accusations to the point where you find yourself defending things you didn't do, justifying decisions you never made, and apologizing for words you never said. Pay attention if someone is making you feel like you're always wrong, because that blame shifting means they are avoiding responsibility and putting the fault on you. And they're going to do it again and again until you start to believe them. Now, let's talk about a sign closely related to blame shifting: dismissing your feelings. Imagine this. You're pouring your heart out, really trying to express how you feel. But what do you get in return? Indifference. It's like talking to a wall. But this isn't just about your feelings being brushed aside, because when someone is gaslighting you by dismissing your feelings, then it's a clear message that they do not value what you have to say or who you are as a person. Now, what you'll notice is them telling you that you're overreacting or being too emotional when you are genuinely upset. It's a total disregard for your feelings. They may say, "You're always so dramatic," or "You're being too sensitive. You need to get over it. You're always taking things the wrong way." What really makes this a big deal is this. If your feelings are being dismissed, it's a red flag that you're being emotionally manipulated. It is a clear indication of gaslighting, and it is essential to pay attention, because they are intentionally making you feel worthless so that they can have more control over you and your life. It is critical to recognize when your feelings are being dismissed, but there is a more subtle and manipulative gaslighting tactic that they use. This next sign is withholding information, and it may be the hardest one to recognize, but it's a powerful sign that someone is gaslighting you. Now, withholding information is a sneaky way of gaslighting, and it's not easy to spot because it's all about what the gaslighter doesn't say. Picture this. You're in a situation where you trust this person. You believe they're honest, but when they talk to you, you feel deep down inside that there is something more, something they haven't shared with you yet. Maybe they're holding back a secret or some hidden information or not telling you the whole story, but you can feel there's something more you should know. This isn't about them just keeping a little secret from you. It's a calculated, intentional withholding of information. It's a deliberate act to keep you in the dark, to keep you off balance, and to keep you dependent on them for information. They want to undermine you, make you question your sanity, and manipulate you by keeping information to themselves. Here's what it's like. They might be really sketchy about where they've been or who they're talking to. They get defensive when you ask questions and accuse you of not trusting them, but they never tell you the whole story. Instead, they will make you believe you're crazy, paranoid, and wrong for even asking. The important thing here is this. By keeping you in the dark, they maintain the power because you end up relying on them for answers, and it allows them to avoid taking responsibility for their actions while making you feel insecure, frustrated, and like you just cannot trust your own thoughts. When they are withholding information, you are left feeling lost and dependent on them, which keeps them in control. Trust your instincts when it comes to that type of behavior. Stay calm, avoid arguing, and give yourself some space. And remember, you deserve to be with the person who is always open and honest with you. Now, do any of those signs sound familiar? Has someone been gaslighting you? Let's talk about what you've seen and what you felt in the comments, and you'll want to watch this next video on trauma bonding. Now remember, recognizing these signs is the first step towards a healthier relationship. So subscribe and join us on the channel, but remember, you can always reach out for help from a trusted friend, a family member, or a professional if you need more support. I'll make it work. I'll make that work. Good enough. 2. 80 degrees.